Friends, whether voluntary adoption of IND AS is permitted for companies. So, as in the previous videos we have seen, which are the cases where IND AS application is mandatory in case of companies. Now, suppose there is a company. That company does not come under the mandatory application criteria. So, whether that company can go for voluntary or voluntarily adopt IND AS even if it doesn't meet the mandatory requirements. Now, to get an answer to this, we have to see what is the nature of the company. Okay, whether it is a bank or insurance company or an NBFC or any other company. Okay, so depending upon the nature, then only we can decide whether voluntary adoption is permitted or not. Okay, the first thing we have to see whether it is a NBFC. If the company is an NBFC, NBFC can adopt IND AS only if it meets the mandatory criteria, which means voluntary adoption is not permitted for NBFCs. So it is not permitted. Now, next, bank or insurance companies. In the case of banks as well as insurance companies, we have already seen that IND AS at all cannot be used. Even if it meets the mandatory requirements of net worth of more than 250 crore, banks and insurance companies cannot adopt IND AS as of now. So, voluntary adoption of IND AS by banks and insurance companies itself, voluntary adoption also is not permitted. So, here also it is not permitted. Now, if there is any company which is a parent or subsidiary or associate or joint venture of any of these companies, okay, which is not required to follow the IND AS, okay, and these companies does not meet the IND AS criteria, the criteria for mandatory application of IND AS, then such companies also cannot apply IND AS. Okay, but in any other company other than these four category, okay, they can voluntarily adopt IND AS. So, voluntary adoption of IND AS is permitted only if the company is not a NBFC or a bank or an insurance company or the parent, subsidiary, associate or joint venture, any of these three. Okay, if it is not under this category, then such companies can voluntarily adopt IND AS. I hope that is clear to everyone. And once you adopt IND AS voluntarily, then all the requirements of IND AS as applicable to a company which has mandatorily required to adopt IND AS also have to be followed. I hope that is clear. Thank you.